Hey, I just finished the Amazing Digital Circus, I think yesterday or the day before. And at the end of the series, when Kinger was given access to his computer again, or a computer from CNA, I noticed that the scenes kind of flashed by and it was indecipherable. So I wanted to take like a frame by frame breakdown of all of the screen grabs I could get of Kinger using his computer and try and explain what's going on. And here in the first screen cap I grabbed, he's on the desktop and he navigated to the C and A directory on the computer. And then in the next frame, he moves from C and A to characters. There's two folders here, CA neural scans and then AI. Not really sure what that means, but I know the neural scans would inevitably be the characters, and AI would be what is essentially Kane. Here, you can see at the top in the folder structure, there's an experimental agent, an AI agent, and there's an AI module for consciousness research and an AI module for brain scans. So maybe the experimental agent was using the consciousness and research that Scratch, the other developer at C&A who had a brain tumor, Scratch made these things. Maybe the agent was using the brain scans that Scratch had collected along with the consciousness research that CNA was doing. Not too sure, but then he's in the secured directory here, which is kind of weird. I don't even know how he navigated to it, but some of these scenes, the information on the screen is kind of accurate to how these systems work, and some of this information is kind of just there. But I'm not gonna knock it too hard because it's a show, it's not classroom or anything. This here is listing the secured directory, total 8,492. I think that means that's how many files. That's how many files are in the secured directory. So here we can see the top few and then the bottom few files. Something significant here is that Kane, the core of Kane, was written in a Lisp programming language in 96. And then there's something called the paraphernalia engine, which I'm not really sure what that was. And then there's the first character in 1999 named Scratch. And then the second character in 2008 was Ragatha. And I think these are sorted by size. Yeah, they're sorted by size. So Scratch and Ragatha have an equal file size. And then down at the bottom of this list of secured files, we have Wacky Watch C. So that's a program or a file written in the C programming language named Wacky Watch. Not really sure what that is. And then Bubble Chef. So Bubble Chef and Kane were written in Lisp, and Wacky Watch, which I'm assuming is the virus, was written in C. Here it says Kinger at Circus. So Kinger logged into the machine named Circus, which was a mainframe for CNA, and it says stop Kane process. That's not a valid command, so the computer, kicks it back and says wrong approach there. So then Kinger changes his directory to user bin GDB. Not sure what GDB is, but bin is where binaries are stored in a Unix environment. So where your executable files are, I guess, is how I could explain that to like a Windows user. And then user local bin CList 1337. I think that's just like a meme. I don't think that really means anything. I could assume that this means that he's trying to copy the GDB file or move the GDB file from the binaries to the local user. Maybe that way the system couldn't continue interacting with that folder. I'm not sure. Yeah, operation not permitted. Protected by 57 immersive AI defense system. So it's just a funny thing. Then Kinger tries a different approach here. He tries to change Kane's core. chmod is short for change mode. And in a Unix or Linux system, change mode changes what that file can do. Since it's straight 000, he's changing the mode to 000, which means that you cannot read, write, or execute the program. Nobody can read, write, or execute the program. So what he's trying to do is make Kane's core just totally not able to be interacted with by the system itself. Because if it can't be interacted with, the service would stop. So Kane is a service running on this mainframe, an AI, and then you can see he's changing mode to. Then this is the next frame I could grab, and it says hundreds of all-seeing eyes are watching. Critical malfunction in my my spectacular systems. Unauthorized isolation attempt triggered. Emergency protocols. Destructive wacky time initiated. Lockout sequence initiate. So this would be the Kane core or the experimental AI module, noticing that an administrator was trying to edit back here on the bottom. Yeah, see here, he's trying to delete the paraphernalia engine, which I'm guessing that ties into Kane's AI model somehow. I'm not entirely sure, but it goes from there to here, and then it's trying to wacky time. Something called wacky time is trying to lock Kinger out of using the system. So then Kinger tries to fight back by saying system CTL stop wacky time lockout. Now system CTL is for the system D service handler on Linux, and it's how you start and stop services on a Linux system. So Kinger's just trying to prevent the lockout by killing the process. The machine responds, on what grounds are your authority? So Kinger responds by trying to execute the green grounds service daemon. Not sure what that is, but it's in theme with the amazing digital circus art style here. Target torment injection, and the command ends there. As we can see here, it says security alert, multiple exploit attempts logged. And now it's just the system is on the fritz. Right here, it's Kane saying, I must hand it to you. Your mind was always resourceful. Then Kinger executes a program under his user called security sweep stealth, and it says abort fallback procedures. He presses yes, so he's running some kind of an antivirus or lockout procedure, and the machine asks him for his admin password. Then he provides it, and it says the machine on the fritz is saying that it's not wacky enough. It says retry with a diff. Presses yes to accept the option to choose a different code. The next prompt here is a progress indicator from wacky time locking out Kinger from the system. So it goes from 20% up here to 40% down here. So in the meantime of the the CNA mainframe and Kane on the CNA mainframe trying to fight back against Kinger, he is entering in all of these commands, desperately trying to shut the machine down. Retry with a different code. He presses yes to retry. Comes here. Where we left off was, I think this is supposed to say enter wacky code now, paraphernalia, and it says here's another wacky time. That virus or the rogue AI core within Kane's stable AI core says for seconds remaining, and then the next prompt says wacky word, wrong code. Don't know what this says. Maybe it says selecting safest option for stability, cancel automatic selection, yes or no. So then Kinger chooses the backup C. The system is on the fritz, it's freaking out, so it says none detected. It can't detect the third backup being C. And then from here, no backup selected, deleted, none, confirm deletion of current unstable, and then it's blocked out by this pixel art Kane face here. So he's trying not to delete the thing here as his input back to the system. It says negative response inverting to something protocols. The next line says delete this motherfucker, and then laughing after that. So Kinger says no, don't delete it. The wacky time lockout service is higher, 83%. I think that's what that's supposed to read. It says proceeding with original, I don't know right here. Actually, you're confused. Let me help you. Exist, yes or no? Kinger says yes, exist. So that's his input back to the system. And then here, I don't know what that says. Error falling, default method. Kinger tries to run something called switcheroo realty. Maybe it's supposed to be shorthand for like reality. Or there are more characters hidden behind this image here that I'm unable to read. So he's starting a system service called switcheroo here. I'm not really sure what that program does or that script does here, but he's trying to switch program 1 with program 2. Maybe that was like a system bypass, because then the system gives him a option here to delete Kane. So he enters yes. It says abort, no rollback, protocol GVWJI. That's nonsense to me. I don't really know what that means. And then you can see here, Kinger presses Control C to exit the running service that he was prompted into. And then in the last screen grab I took, which was the last screen grab before Kinger's computer fell through the floor, was the Purge AI program. So what happened was Kinger went through all of that, and he had to sum it all up, he had to log in as an admin and try to stop the service normally and the computer fought back. Kane fought back, and then Kinger tried to run a stealth antivirus to shut Kane down. That failed again, so then Kinger had to use his third attempt. His third attempt here was to use that switcheroo script, which inevitably ended up working. It bypassed Kane. That's how when we got here, Purge AI program. Now, after this in the series, because Kinger did all the stuff on the computer, it ended up deleting that rogue AI core within Kane that made him go pretty much insane and evil, which the insane and evil part of Kane would have been probably this experimental agent right here, which I think was the red orb in the one scene where the orbs were floating around and one orb swallowed the other. Yeah, pretty interesting. I'm not sure if there's another video like this out there. I thought I would make it because it's all kind of important stuff when it came to the last episodes or the movie for the amazing digital circus. Anyway, hope that cleared some things up with the ending scene there. I know it was kind of confusing, but yeah, that'd be the video.